Said she didn't want any part of it.
I came in.
It's like, Chris, how you have never shared a meeting.
Oh, you.
Okay. The meeting is ready to be called to order. Will everyone stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I see right now we don't have anyone here as far as public comment. So we will go down to discussion and possible action to approve meeting minutes of May 25th. With the amendment. The amendment of the date, which is the fourth Wednesday of the month instead of the third Wednesday of the month, which was noted on the minutes.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would like to move, I don't want to rush this, but I would like to move that we accept the minute, or approve the minutes rather, as amended. But we just learned in our last meeting that we're supposed to make those motions on our iPad. And so I would just say that as we work through this agenda, what we learned earlier today is that if a person's going to make an emotion, they have to push that little motion thing button, and then the other person would have to second it, and then we'll also be voting on our iPads as well. Just a little bit of a thing as we evolve here. So.
Okay. And it has been seconded. So the minutes stand approved as amended. Just click. Yep. Okay. Motion has been carried. Okay, the next agenda item is discussion and possible action regarding appointment of additional members to the subcommittee, qualifications, manner, and timing of appointment. Does anyone have anything as far as additional members to this subcommittee?
I brought the bios for the two people that I mentioned last week, and I have a copy for each of you to take a look at if you'd like. Wonderful.
Could you please remind us who they are and
Yes.
your relation to them?
Okay, so Marquise Miller is the founder and pastor of Reach Out Ministries. He's also the executive director of the Wonderfully Made Foundation, which is a homeless home for women and children. And Stacy Coe is a local businesswoman and entrepreneur. She spent a good amount of time incarcerated and is now, I just can't say enough good about her. She is just a pillar of the community, a wonderful person. She volunteers for a number of organizations. She, let's see here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Kelly Club, but she is on that board. And she's also one of, I believe, only 2 plumbing contractors in the state of Oklahoma that's a female. Big deal. She got that while she was incarcerated. Her journeyman's license, and tested for her contractor's license once she was out of prison. She's been, clean, sober, and on the straight and narrow for many years, and she actually mentors many people. And on here, it also talks about how every Sunday, she volunteers her time to help senior plumbing apprentices obtain their journeyman's license. And she has helped 20 people to date. She's also a veteran of the U.S. Army. Something I'd like to say personally is, I think in today's world, politics enters everything. I sit on a few different boards. I'm proudly very conservative, but they don't necessarily share my views on that. So, but they are people who I've worked with in other capacities, and I find that they are both very intentional. They're very open-minded. They're willing to discuss, and I can answer any questions that you guys have about either one of them to the best of my ability. But they're fantastic. They'd be great on any of our committees. And I'm not saying that they're going to say, hey, I want to be on all of them, because that's not the case. They're both very, very busy. But if we wanted to consider one or both of them for this committee, we can do that. It's just, and I have specifically talked to both of them about the nature of this committee, with their respective outreaches that they work with.
I had one also, but I did not bring her bio. I didn't know if we were going to talk about it today. Her name is Wanima Ra. She's executive director at Jordan's Crossing. She has been on both sides. We work with women who are in the throes of addiction, seeking recovery, and Wanima has done the exact thing. She, used drugs. She went to prison. She came out after working on getting her bachelor's while she was in prison. Came out, got a job at DOC, and then was hired to run Norman Alcohol and Drug Center. So I apologize that I was thinking that we probably wasn't going to do it till the next time, but I think Wanima's thing is because she does have knowledge of the whole from jail all the way up. And the fact that she went to school to better herself so that when she got out, she'd be able to provide along with her husband, for their 2 kids. And she continues to be an example of that. I love when she talks to the women that come in that are hard, and she sits and tells them, I did 9 years one time, and I did 4 years the next time. And they kind of look at her, because then they realize, oh, you're over this place. And so that was who I had. And she's willing to serve on any committee that we think that she would be right for. Not necessarily this one, but so anyway.
Yeah, June, can you spell her name?
Her first name is Wynema, and her last name is R.A.
Okay.
And we have these to pass down.
Okay, because I was looking for her.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Miller, because I think his this is his second wife, or
Yes.
okay, because his first wife I know has the daycare center not far from my daughter's house, and I was just wondering. So this is the same person.
Yes, and he actually owns a daycare center too. So I don't know if they own the same one, or
well, it's
or
one,
if they're
it's
collectively doing that, or if
it's
we're talking-
wonderfully made.
Yes, it is wonderfully made.
I mean, and that's the name of the
Yeah.
daycare home. Also, so doing a lot of stuff right there off of 30th, Northeast 30th, which serves the community.
Leslie, out of your 2 recommended candidates, which one do you think would be a better fit for this committee?
Well, let me put it to you this way. I think that Stacy, having this intimate knowledge of plumbing and everything we're going through with building a new jail, and her specific skill set, she's also a plumbing inspector for Oklahoma. She would be good. Her skill set is different than Marquise's with dealing, and her background with dealing with addiction and that sort of thing. And then Marquise's being a pastor and having, they're both great for, boy, that's hard to say. That's a great question.
I mean, as a reminder, we had identified that the purpose and function of this committee was to identify the barriers that are keeping detainees and families from accessing current partnerships affiliated with the detention center, identifying the greatest areas of support for detainees and community relationships that could be developed, and then reviewing current community relations policies, and then just generally speaking, to be open and validating to the feedback and perspectives of the community so that the flow of information, back and forth between the detention center and the community to be free flowing.
I mean, maybe Marquise, I would say. I would say if we need to pick one or the other, I would say Marquise on this one. And I know that we have some other committees that would be great, a great fit for
Yes.
Stacy. And then I also want to make sure that, and I apologize, I didn't write down the name of the lady that you recommended, June. But I want to make sure that, I mean, these all sound like really good people, and we need to really draw on their experience and background. So I would say that if I'm choosing one of my two, I would say Marquise for this, and then maybe look at Stacy for something else where maybe that would fit her skill set better.
So do we have a subcommittee that will look at that as far as the jail is concerned, and some of the things that you were saying that she's good at? She's an inspector. Yeah. Do we have anything like that?
Like a facilities, I can't remember
committee?
the other committees.
I know
There
it's
was
retention
one,
and staffing.
Yeah, we have the.
Policy and procedure was the one I was thinking she might be a good fit for because of some of that, and then also, having spent time incarcerated,
Right.
she's going to have
yeah.
an interesting perspective there as well. As
Definitely,
your
yeah, exactly.
recommendation would.
Exactly.
So,
okay.
So, that might be a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah, she's fantastic. You meet these people and you just go, man, if I could just take them and spread them around everywhere. But that's what happens. We all end up on, the same few people that end up on every board.
So, Madam Chair, if I may, just first of all, one quick word of validation. I know Stacy Coe as well. She is everything and then some.
And then some, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But this does feel like maybe a better fit for a minister who's in the community, kind of doing those relationship work. She could fit in operations or policies and procedures or anywhere. Agree with
Wonderful.
that. She's dynamite. Also, I want to endorse Wanima as well. I know of her reputation. I think that she would be very great. There is a person who's asked to serve on this committee for me. Her name is Stacy Kastner. Stacy Kastner is very intimately involved in the jail. She's working with people at the jail. She's a case manager and at team, and works directly with people coming out of the jail, and is constantly, she's just got a very front row seat to good, bad, and otherwise of the dynamics, and is a phenomenal, charismatic personality spokesperson deep in the nonprofit world. But she's asked to speak. But I would even say this, because Leslie had already talked to us about Marquise, and Wanima has been talked about as well. And I just think that maybe they should be the top two fits. But then also Stacy, and I can get her resume if we need that before we vote on her as well. But I think that we have, because Hannah Royce is also on this committee.
Right. So we have 5.
And that gives us capacity to have up to 4 members at large if we chose to do that. And it sounds like that we have 3 really good candidates, and maybe a 4th, unless we decide that Stacy may be a better fit elsewhere, like on another committee.
No.
Based on your knowledge of her and her, Miss Kastner, right? She's at, no, I was talking to Chris, Miss Kastner, right?
Yep.
And I think she's pretty experienced. If she's a case manager, getting them in, and that offers a even greater perspective.
She's great. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. She's dynamite. The other person that had asked to serve, and he didn't. He said either this committee or I think he said either this committee or operations, community relations or operations, is Deacon Roy Forsyth. Deacon Roy has been served as a chaplain at the jail for 30 years, probably. Not kidding. Faithful as they come, but also just deep in the community. Within he's very active in his church. I think he's a medical doctor on top of all that as well. But just has given his life and heart to minister to people who are trying to work through some things. And so I think Deacon Roy would also be a really strong addition to either this committee, probably this committee, given where he's positioned.
Yeah, very good people. So I beg for forgiveness. I had forgotten this, but I'm looking back at the minutes, and the last meeting we had made a motion and approved the addition of you, Chris, and Derwin. And so, and I can't recall his credentials, but I remember feeling very confident about it, about him. But it seems to me as though, obviously we already have one spot filled, and need to be intentional about making sure that he's added to this meeting for the next time. I would assume, yes.
Yeah, let me tell you about Derwin. Just as a reminder, because we did talk about him. He was the first person to approach us about serving on one of our subcommittees. Derwin is normally here. I mean, you would recognize him immediately. He's nearly at every jail trust meeting and every meeting that takes place that affects the jail. Derwin is an individual with lived experience as well. He serves as a life coach now.
He was here at the last meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very articulate, very passionate. There was a question about if a person has not completed their sentence, could they take the oath?
Right.
That we have to take because we're subject to the Open Meetings Act, and the answer is that a person who has a felony conviction that has not completed their entire sentence, and that includes paper time, if they're not eligible to run for office, they wouldn't be eligible to serve on this committee because of the oath. That was the directive from Lynn, in essence, and there was a question, I think, if Derwin had completed his paper time. I did check back with Derwin, and he said that he has. He says that he's voting now and that he's completely eligible to serve. And I think he may have also had a conversation with Lynn about that as well, just to make sure. And he would be dynamite. I mean, just dynamite. So there's lots of things that we could, lots of directions that we could go. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that reminder.
Madam Chair, Michaela is trying to.
Michaela.
If I'm mathing correctly, I believe the maximum that you can have is 3. If there are 5 members, that would put you up to 8. You need to have 5 to have a quorum, and so therefore you need to make sure that the at-large members do not make
Yeah, that's right.
of those 5.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So really, I think it's 2. I think maybe you could squeeze 3 so long as you all were regularly going to the year.
That didn't help at all.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we?
Well,
We need to vote.
Well, based on, so I think I feel like I just need clarity then. So Derwin is officially on this subcommittee.
I don't think we have voted on him.
In our minutes, we voted the last meeting.
We voted to include him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then-
Yes. That's what it states. If you look at the minutes from, it was in
He would
May.
be a phenomenal
Number
addition.
6.
Thank you. Thank you for this, Aaron.
Yeah, it was discussion and possible action regarding appointment of additional members to the subcommittee, and
Love
we
it.
added you and Derwin,
Love it.
with additional appointments being discussed at this meeting.
Perfect.
So with that, we have one spot filled.
Then I'm going to recommend, I'm going to make a motion that we also appoint Marquise Miller. I'm not going to say it right. Wanima
Juanima.
Raw. I'm gonna recommend that we appoint those 2 additional members because, much like Stacy Kastner and or Deacon Forsyth can serve. They can.
In other capacities.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that we're talking about can serve in any other capacity, but just because of the position within the community, it feels like these others may be the better fit for this committee.
So I think you have to push the motion button. I'll second you.
Love it.
Okay, so it has been, motion has been given and it's been seconded. Okay. This technology. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm glad we're all very grace-filled people.
No, you don't. You all don't even understand. I got here 45 minutes early so I could start begging on what to do because I didn't know what to do. So I'm grateful that you're gracious.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And that we don't have an audience.
Yes. That we know of.
Yeah, we know of. That we know of. Hello out there. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
An
Okay.
in-person audience.
Right.
That feels the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're now on to the announcement. 3rd regularly scheduled meeting of the Community Relationship Subcommittee for the Criminal Justice Citizens Advisory Board is on Wednesday, August the 24th. That's right. Okay, at 10:45. And if there is nothing else, then we are ready to adjourn. Thank y'all so much. This is, guys, y'all don't know how.
Most efficient meeting we've
I
ever
know. I know.
You know how to do a meeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always the kind of.
Yeah.
Killed it. Waiting on Michaela. Kidding.
Uh-huh.
Kidding.